Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, sustainability is a theme that is gaining prominence on business agendas throughout Ireland. And Chambers Ireland is acknowledging the concerted actions taken by companies of all sizes in the areas of sustainable development and social responsibility with its Sustainable Business Impact Awards. James Kiernan is the Director of Relationship Management with Chambers Ireland, and he joins us now to discuss the upcoming awards and to outline how your business can gain the recognition that it deserves. James, start by providing us with an insight into your role within Chambers Ireland.
Thanks, Carl. Delighted to be with you. I've been working in Chambers Ireland for 14 years now, and my role is I'm the Director of Relationship Management in Chambers Ireland. So what that effectively means is that I work with all the chambers around the country. So we have 40 chambers in our network, the length of the breadth of the country, that are affiliated chambers to Chambers Ireland. So I help them out on all issues that affect our members, whether it be current issues around lobbying for better business practices, keeping down costs, which is very important at the moment. But I also kind of work on different events, different ways that they can help their members to interact with each other.
And James, of course, you have your finger on the pulse in terms of what's happening across the length and breadth of this country through those chambers. So what are the challenges that are facing chamber members across the country right now?
Right now, Carol, it'll be increasing costs, as we're all aware of. It's been well documented. Inflation has really hit the world hard, really. Europe and Ireland is no different. So increasing costs is something that would be a worry for business. It's something we work hard in conjunction with local authorities, through our local chambers, and nationally through Chambers Ireland, to lobby hard to keep costs down across all areas for businesses, whether it be energy costs, costs for insurance, costs for rates at local authority level, but all sorts of areas. So cost is something that's really affecting them now. But a lot of them are actually trying to be positive about what they're doing around sustainability. And they're actually looking at that. So we're providing guidance to help them actually go on that road to be more sustainable and transition to be a more sustainable business and engage in different ways on sustainability. And
James, what more do you think the government can do today to support businesses in relation to reducing costs?
Well, they've done quite a bit in the last while, but they really need to kind of talk to organisations like ourselves to really get feedback from a grassroots level about what are the immediate things they can do cost-wise for businesses. So reacting around providing grant aid for businesses to kind of ease burdens on them, to help them maintain employees within their organisation, and to really kind of talk to businesses about how they can adapt to cost changes and a changing market and things that are going to be here with us for quite a while.
And of course, there is great financial supports available through the Strategic Banking Corporation of Ireland, isn't there?
There is, yeah, and there's a lot of avenues for businesses to get finance. Access to finance is something that we used to have issues with years ago, but not at the moment. A lot of banking institutions that we have in Ireland are actually providing, great financial assistance to their clients.
Now, the reason I've asked you to join us on this morning's programme is to discuss the Sustainable Business Impact Awards 2022. What can you tell us about these, James?
Yeah, these awards have actually been in existence for almost 20 years now. We used to previously call them the CSR Awards, Corporate Social Responsibility, but we actually changed them over to the Sustainable Business Impact Awards 4 years ago now. It's really, what they're trying to do is actually just recognise best practice in sustainability by businesses, of different sizes, really across loads of different sectors. So we've lots of categories that businesses can enter around social enterprise, diversity and inclusion, workplace practices, community volunteering, which is very important for chambers, partnerships with charities, and various community programs and environmental programs as well, that businesses can get involved in, and even how they communicate those projects outwardly to their clients, back through their supply chain and to the public at large. So there really are good awards for showcasing what you can do and inspiring other companies to do the same.
And provide us with an insight into last year's winners and what really stood out about what they were doing.
Yeah, well, last year was the first time we ever had an SME win the overall award, which is great to see. Earth's Edge, it's a company that actually looks at bringing people around the world to engage them in different ways. And some things that they did that were really caught the judges' eyes last year was they partnered with various charity organisations and community groups to bring them on hiking trips to various destinations around the world in a very economical way. They offset a lot of what they do environmentally into planting trees, investing in the environment in different places around the country. So with that impact that really caught the judges' eyes. the judges always look for things around impact in what businesses are doing, impact and statistics that can actually show real change in what a company can do.
From your insight into this area over the last number of years, James, what have been the best examples of what companies have done internally and then externally?
Internally, the best way a company can do it is actually just engage their workforce and see what the workforce wants to do and really get them involved in the sustainable practices of the organisation. Because that changes the culture, brings real change into the organisation and really gets them involved in their community. So, talking to the workforce, seeing what they want to do in the area of sustainability, and then building your strategy around that is really important and actually really engages the organisation. And then looking at how you can really make an impact in the community you're involved in, no matter where you are in the country. Chambers are really, have really focused in the last few years about engaging their community and developing their community. So we'd like the businesses that, are showcased in these awards to do the same.
With increased energy costs this year, it's never been as much of a priority for businesses to increase their focus in relation to sustainability. So as a result of that, are you expecting more applications than ever?
Yeah, well, we've actually put a lot of focus this year on trying to engage more SMEs and different locations around the country. We tend to see there's a lot of businesses in certain areas that enter. Like we've 3 different categories. So we've large indigenous companies can enter, and multinational companies can enter, and small to medium-sized businesses can enter. And we actually don't gauge them up against each other because they're different sizes and different resources, so that would be very unfair. So we actually just break it into certain areas. So we're hoping to get a lot more smaller businesses from all over Ireland to enter this year. And the early indications are that we've been successful in that regard. But it's we've seen some big companies with big brand names win over the last few years, and it really is a great kudos, and it really enhances the brand and image and marketing of that company after they win.
And James, what does the application process entail?
Well, it's really just, you just tell us about the project you want to do. So you identify a project within your organisation that you feel is worthy of, that's really made an impact in your community, or an environmental project or a diversity project that's really, made that impact. If you fill in the application, it's all online, so it's easy to do, it's easy to access. And there's some basic questions then, just filling us in about the project. We look for stats that we can gauge impact and results. The judges like to look at things like that there's going to be a long-term impact, and actually that it'll actually endure into the future as well, that it's not just a once-off. It's something that'll help a community or an organisation, or it's an environmental programme that'll actually just benefit over the long term.
And once the application form has been completed, then what happens next?
Well, the judging process kicks off then. So the application process is closed on the 27th of April, which is Wednesday of next week. We actually look at, or Thursday of next week, we actually look at the judging of it then. So that's where we break it into pods. So we've got specialists that look at each area. So we get specialist judges in. We try and get an academic in, and a professional in, and then an independent third party to judge each one. And then we go through that process over the summer. So we have a short list that we announce in July, and then the awards themselves are held in September. So we're doing the gala event again for the first time in a few years, thanks to COVID again. So we'll be delighted to welcome all our patrons back on that night in September.
How many applications are you expecting this year for these awards?
We expect well over 100 applications, so up around 120 to 130 applications. There's usually around 70 companies, 60 to 70 companies that enter. That was last year. We're expecting a bit of an increase in that this year. There's been a bit of pent-up demand. We tend to see a lot of companies will be entering in projects that are kind of COVID-responsive projects, or even companies that have been very active in welcoming refugees from the crisis in the Ukraine into their community, and initiatives that they've done to help Ukraine and help the people of the Ukraine. A lot of businesses have been very responsive to that, and we're actually very proud as a representative body to see the responsive businesses in there. So that should really boost the applications that we see on the night. On the night, we expect about 550 people to attend up in Dublin.
And James, is there any particular sector that you've seen to be underrepresented in the past that you'd like to see more applications from this year? Well,
this is only the second year that we'll be having the social enterprise category. So that's something that's been supported by government, and we're actually looking to increase the applications that come into that this year. So we put a lot of emphasis on that. So because it's such a new category, the applications have tended to be lower. but we're hoping that'll increase this year. Social enterprise is very important to communities around the country and actually supporting that sector. And it's something that our chambers are looking to do more of in the future. So we're hoping that we see more applications as a result of that in the future.
So, James, if any of our listeners would like to apply, how can they do so?
So you just need to go on to www.chambers.ie.
And James, finally, beyond the Sustainable Business Impact Awards, what else is on the Chambers Ireland calendar for the remainder of 2022?
We've actually, event-wise, we've got a couple other events on the calendar. So we have our Chamber Awards that we award the work of our local chambers around the country, and that's in early June. So, Wexford have an application in there, which we're judging at the moment. We also have our local government awards that we award initiatives by local authorities in November. And we're kicking off a new event this year. It's actually a golf event where the winners of all the local chamber golf outings this year will be going to a national event in the K Club on the 20th of October. Well, there'll be actually a national chamber golf champion. So that'll be very interesting to see. The golf classics have been something that chambers have done very well over the years, and businesses like to network at. So it's something that we're bringing the whole country together on this year.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was James Kiernan from Chambers Ireland. And with sustainability continuing to be a hot topic in Irish business circles, I've no doubt that Chambers Ireland will be inundated with applications this year.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast.